Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty Waterloo. Pressure want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1,500 US.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today I can't take it, so I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
So it's in the rice price.
The rice price something to do. They go talk to him and somebody. They are talking to him and come tell him nothing. And they come out people every week here. Okay.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, so my relationship?
No.
You're throwing out a helpless dog?
What helpless dog? I don't need a dog in my yard, all right? Okay. You want a dog, take it, put it between your legs.
You little bastard.
No, you probably want the dog to fuck you. That's what you want. I don't care. I don't care who you are.
I don't care who the hell you are.
Fuck you.
Yeah, dekha.
Now listen to me.
You're drunk.
Don't let any woman come in my yard.
You're bloody drunk.
Hello. You like the camera?
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%. Get your give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no play with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up.
To shake the tongue. Everybody in this party. Step to have some fun. Get your tongue back.
Watch out as DJ Shrimpy presents his annual backyard party. This year, instead of you coming to Long Island, we coming to you at the Woodbine Ballroom, 2281 Church Avenue in Brooklyn. That's on the corner of Bedford. Saturday, August 9th, 2025. Music by Super Terry one-man band, Lady Supreme. DJ Quinn, the mature mixer, VDJ Hills Castle, and DJ Shrimpy. Doors open at 8 p.m. Tickets are $30, dinner included. Don't forget, this is coming down August 9th at the Woodbine Ballroom. For tickets, contact any of the names I just mentioned in Brooklyn. Every year we do the same time, same place.
Don't tell me about work, I out on the road today. Me and some pretty beaches, I out on the boat today. I don't care what time of day it is, I drink it.
All right, welcome to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benshop. I know you guys missed me last evening. We had some technical difficulties, but we'll make it up tonight. I intend to go 5 minutes extra with you, but I have a guest tonight. None of you know who this person is. You know who this person is, sorry, but I bet you can't tell me who is my guest tonight. None of you can say. It is not his first time, but he hasn't been on here for a couple of years, so he's with us tonight. Let me see. Those of you who have left Guyana a donkey years ago probably heard of him. Initials are TV. TV. He's a pioneer also for TV in Guyana. Let me see some of you old heads there. Sean Harry, no, get to the back of the class. No, you fail. Common entrance, you fail here too. Garfield Collins, somebody said, I said he hasn't been on for a while. Miss Booker, get to the back of the class. TV. TV, his initials. I'm giving you guys, while you share the link, so that we can rock and roll properly tonight, so that we can, Samantha Barron, you're close, but check the spelling. Check the spelling. You're close. Check the spelling. Indeed. TV. Somebody said Mr. Lewis Hazel. I don't know. Anyways, when our guests come on, somebody said Mr. Vera. Okay, you seem to know what's going on, but since when Mr. Lewis, Lincoln Lewis, initials are TV? All right. Come on, guys. Tony Vera is with us this evening, right here on 107.1 FM. A man that I've known for a long time, and I grew up in Guyana hearing the name Tony Vera, Channel 28, all manner of things. And I grew up calling him Mr. Vera, but then after I get old to catch up with his age, I start calling him Tony. But he is a pioneer in terms of television and so forth in Guyana. No stranger. Somebody said Channel 28. That's right. Theodore Adams obviously doesn't know Guyana. He's saying Bobby. Bobby's initials are not TV. Come on, Mr. Chairman. What's going on? All right, good night again. We missed last evening, technical problems, but tonight we're going to make it up with you. What's happening? Before we get our guest, Tony Vera, he's in studio with us. We don't want to have him waiting long in the back of the studio, so just give me 1 minute as I play this here. It's not a comedy, but this is for real. For real, as Tom Anderson would say. Good night to Tom Anderson. He's peeping us. Tom has a schedule. He's been out of town. We'll try to get him maybe sometime next week. But take a listen to this. It's comedy. Comedy at the National Cultural Center.
Irrigation system in this community is better. It's better than ABC.
Sorry about that, guys. This is a serious show. We shouldn't be laughing at people, not because of their size or what. It doesn't really matter. But let's go back to this comedy again at the National Cultural Center.
Irrigation system in this community is better. It's better today because you have a government who already puts the people first. And the people...
What government that is? A few moments later. Guys, lots of things happening, political comedy on the PPP side. Check this comedy out. I want you guys, and I'm going to ask Tony Vera, Mr. Vera, as he gets on our program in just a few seconds or so. Listen to this again.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afro Wellington Bavigans.
Wait a minute. Sorry, I turned there for a moment. Not laughing as his name. His name is Linden Tushoko Tupuna Kududa Bobby Gain. Okay, let's go right back again. Operator, rewind.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afro Wellington Bavigans. Carpool Police 21111, Station of Traffic Headquarters. I would like to take this time to thank the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for making this, is taking out this precious time.
I mean, able to this twist, decide and twist. Something is with this twisting thing, right? But this is a guy who left the force under questionable circumstances and rejoined the force after what's his name, Hicken got in there, and something, and then he was posted at Mountain Branch and all these sort of things, and now he's coming trying to convince you that Irfan Ali did something good for him. Something good for him, right? So take a listen.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afro Wellington Bavarians.
All right, we'll get back to him. Take a listen to this other one.
I'm so happy. You cannot say how much I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You cannot say how much I'm so happy.
Something is fishy about all of these things, especially in the elections year, right? Just 1 month left. Just a little over 1 month elections, and all of these comical makeshift endorsements and sort. Take a listen to this one here before we bring our guest in.
In my opinion, the performance of the PPP government for the past 4 years, in fact, since it took office, has been nothing short of exceptional.
All right, she doesn't have any shame. No shame on that at all. Nothing short of exceptional. Nevertheless, let's welcome our guest this evening, a good friend of mine, a pioneer of television and lots of other things in Guyana. Mr. Vera, good night and welcome to Straight Up, sir.
Good night, Mark. Thank you for inviting me on your show, and good night to all your viewers.
Thank you so much. Let me take this time out to congratulate Mr. Tony Vera. He just got a promotion today. He's from corporal to sergeant, right? Congratulations. What is your take on that, sir?
Oh, as the grossest, that is an indication, in my opinion. It is an indication of how panicky the PPP are at this moment. They're seeing a serious threat to them continuing in government, and so they're finding all sorts of mechanisms whereby they could entice people. But I understand in my inquiries that you have to vote for the promises and the promotions don't take effect unless you vote for them. But we have to wait and see. But I'm telling you that as far as I could see and as far as I am concerned, it's all panic because these people see that they are very seriously threatened in getting reelected.
Absolutely threatened indeed. For those of you who have shared the link, thank you. Those of you who have not, please do. Mr. Vera, though, obviously they're panicky. $2 or $3 trillion budgets, billions of dollars they have at their disposal. They're giving out hundreds of millions of contracts to friends and cronies. One would have thought that any government in office who supposedly claim to be doing all these things should not be panicking. Why you think they're panicking?
I think they're panicking because basically there's a threat from a third force in play. But I want to, as you mentioned, I was just doing some research. I mean, I'm looking into it personally because we have at the foundation of our government a gentleman calling himself Barra Jack Dio. Now, this man is a control freak. And I was wondering how come all the businessmen in this country who are Indo-Guyanese businessmen are being replaced by Chinese. What would be his excuse or his explanation of how come all these people who own shops in Regent Street and shops in Diamond and Grove and so on, how all these people have been allowed to be replaced by Chinese, who, it is my opinion, based on evidence that we have superficially, that the Chinese business people, they could afford to outsell the Guyanese because a question of tax comes up and a question of duties come up. The question is that it is fundamentally sound information that the Chinese embassy is involved in this. This is not Chinese people coming from China to invest here. This is the Chinese government investing here. So if you were Barry Jagdo, you're a control freak, and you wanted to control people. Once people have their own businesses in Regent Street and so on, you can't control them so much. However, if you replace all of them with these Chinese business people, and then you allow an enormous class of contractors to develop, then you could control that. All those people with money, you could control them now. You could control them by not giving them contracts unless they play the game you tell them to play. I'm researching it, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. I just have to put some finishing touches to it, and I'll do it in a commentary I will release next week sometime early.
All right, as they're panicking indeed, yet they're going into communities pretending as though they're handing out contracts and giving work to individuals, and they call it 10-day workers and all these sort of things. Just imagine a government is going out and saying all they can do is just give people work for 10 days, and those 10 days workers have to be affiliated, or if they are not affiliated with the PPP, they are forced to go at PPP rallies and so forth. As a businessman for decades in that country, how does that make you feel, sir?
The PPP is a really sad set of guys. They have failed to make any progress with projects which could enrich Guyana in perpetuity, investing in these initial stages in things that could last. They're so short of sight and planning, and lacking the knowledge of knowing what exactly they have to do to make whatever money they invest in from the oil a permanent asset for this nation. For example, the Brazilians have been begging us for the longest time, please fix the road to Brazil so that we could use it as an access to the Atlantic, in which case everything from Manaus, Roraima states will pass through Guyana. Let's please give us the opportunity to invest with you in a 500 megawatt hydroelectric plant at a place called Tortuga. I don't even know where the place is, but that they are naming it. We have the glorious opportunity of being the pathway to the Atlantic for two of Brazil's biggest states, the state of Roraima and the state of Amazonas. Those two states actually are 10 times bigger than Guyana. Guyana is 83,000 square miles. Those two states are 830,000 square miles, and less than 4 million people living in all that area, because there is no access to the ocean. If you're in Manaus and you're buying electricity to operate your store or your business, the fuel they're using has to come 900 miles up the Amazon, and then 900 miles along the Atlantic back into where Brazil have their oil installations. It is an impossible situation. But imagine what would happen if we could be their access to the Atlantic and their partners in things like hydropower and developing their states of Amazonas and Roraima. You have to remember, Mark, Canada is providing almost the entire eastern seaboard with power from the Great Lakes. It's hydropower. And they're supplying it to the United States going on 60 or 80 years now. So this thing of one country supplying the electricity for not a bigger country, beneficial to both of them, is nothing new. But you see, I went to school in this part of the world. I didn't go to school in Russia, so I know these things.
And neither have you attended the University of IPLAT, which...
My friend now they're now departed, Ramon Gaskin, he used to say, Jagdo went to Lumumba, which anybody could go in. You don't even have to have a GC, but he went to a proper university in Moscow. He went to the University of Moscow, not no Lumumba. Apparently, Lumumba was very much a little thing to just give people some indoctrination.
All right, Mr. Vera, internet problems out there in Guyana, maybe blackout, but we understand. we understand what's happening there.
Something is wrong.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know. Could it be me?
That's okay. It's probably technology. It's probably at your end. Maybe, yeah. Well, go ahead, sir. Continue.
Well, I'm having some issues with telecommunications. And I've moved to Diamond, built a house here in the Little Diamond area, and there's no internet here, so I've had to take on the Starlink.
That's okay. In little Dubai, it's okay, Mr. Vera. Little Dubai, as we move on, elections around the corner, $1 trillion+ budget. The government went back for almost 50 billion. What are they doing with the almost 50 billion they went back less than 6 months after passing a $1.3 trillion budget? What are they doing with all of this money now, elections time?
Well, you see what it is. They're using it to conduct their elections. I want to point out again, Mark, that Mrs. Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India. Pardon me. And she was removed from office as Prime Minister because she used a state-owned helicopter to go to her political party of her party, a political meeting of her party. In other words, once you have a representation of the People's Act, it is really not right for you to be using state assets to do political work. But we see that happening all the time. And this man, Jack, they have the effrontery to ask Norton the other day if he ever heard about the representation of the People's Act. It's absolutely hilarious. They are the biggest violators of it, and they are asking Norton if he ever hear about representation of the People's Act. This country is such. If you can't laugh at it, you will cry, and I ain't able to cry. Too old for crying. Yes, Mark. Am I still on? Mark?
Yeah, you're still on. So continue, sir. Continue.
Well, yeah. I'm basically finished with that particular aspect. The money they're taking out is it's all to do with making promises, and they promised new house lots to people. They promised another 100,000 payout before elections. All these things are, in my opinion, all these things using state money to do political work this close to the election. I believe it's all unfair for sure, and probably even unlawful.
Unlawful, unfair. Some may say that it's been going on, depends on who is in office, but we have never seen it as blatant as it is now. Hundreds of millions of dollars spent on renting buses to transport party supporters from Berbice to Linden or to wherever. It is blatant and it must stop. But let's touch now on GCOM. How confident are you in GCOM delivering free and fair and credible elections, sir?
I've seen some very disturbing things surfacing in the newspaper the last couple of days. In fact, even up to today alone, there were men who were saying that there are serious problems with A, the Venezuelans and the Cubans on the list, and B, a lot of new names were discovered in a very suspicious manner, and something has to be done. But not being one of my areas of expertise, I can't tell you exactly what it is that these people are trying to pull off. But I will tell you this. The PPP loves to accuse everybody of rigging. And with some justification, because we've had incidences in the past where people were stuffing votes into the ballot box. Literally stuffing votes into the ballot box. However, just because you have a little more finesse in how you're stuffing votes into the ballot box by transporting people and paying them to go and vote and paying them to do this and paying. It's very much the same thing. You're rigging. We have to call a spade a spade. He's rigging. They're rigging all the time. These are people who love cricket. They love cricket. They want to see cricket is a gentleman's game. The honorable game. It even had a saying when I was young, that's not cricket, it means what you're doing is not fair. But these people have I don't know how they could love cricket and they don't understand that the main thing of the game is that it's fair and just. Guyana is such a ridiculous place. It's not funny, Mark. It's not funny.
Fair and just. It depends on the umpire, though, because when a ball hits somebody, one of the batsmen, and it may be going towards the stump, and you depend on that one person. You depend on that umpire, and then that umpire may either tease you a little bit and just say not out or out when that person may not. Now, the umpire that GCOM has is Claudette Singh. How confident are you in Claudette Singh? We have seen evidence that she's obviously in favor of the PPP, always voting in favor of the PPP. She is the umpire right now. How confident are you in the chairmanship of Claudette Singh?
I have no confidence in her at all.
All right, while we try to, as soon as he said he has no confidence in her at all, which is correct. It could be that Claudette Singh is watching right now and she has some sort of...
We have several national commissions which are mandated by our constitution. The commission, the procurement commission, and so on, the elections commission. There are many other, ethnic relations commission, teacher service commissions. A few weeks ago, I asked Aubrey Norton to tell me how many of these commissions he was asked to provide a single person to, not even the amount of CCO has in the parliament, but how many of these service commissions he has been invited to as a leader of the opposition to provide a representative to, and he said not even one. I have no confidence in the PPP. They're a corrupt set of people who have to go. I have no confidence in this lady. She's obviously being held up there. From the looks of this woman, she should be. We have to fetch her with an ambulance to the place. You can't have a chairman of elections commission, and she's named in a manner inconsistent. You already have the way the commission was set up. But she is now, I think, the longest service commissioner, and based on what happened in 2004 and her participation in that, or lack of participation in that, I am very surprised she's still in that job.
2004?
No, 2020.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, Steve Surge Valley would have been there for a little while as well. I think he served for about over 10 years, is it? And, Steve Surge Valley, regardless of what you may or people may think of him, he was an angel compared to this chairperson they have there. And people cannot. Now, quickly, let me ask you this here. This is concerning Asha Kissoon, who sat there in the joiners list with Anok. She refused to vacate her seat when her term was up. And she's saying now that she played the game. This is politics, not church. In other words, she ripped them off. She just crooked them. What is your take on this bold, ridiculous statement by Asha Kissoon?
Well, I want to say that I had seen a letter written by Mr. Vishnu Bisram, a friend of mine. We work together. But I had seen a letter with him where he was saying that people who are in parliament should have the right to vote the way they see fit. And I had to point out to him that really and truly, we don't have a constituency type representation in the House. The people who are there are actually the selection of the leader of the list. And therefore, whatever the leader of the list says they must do, they must do. I don't want to go any further than that. When I was asked to go in Parliament, Mr. Corbyn locked himself up in his office at Congress Place, and he declared his 27 or whatever people he was going to take to Parliament in 2006, and I was thankfully one of them. I wanted to be with my friend with Winston Murray to represent, to do some work for the nation. Basically, that is how they are selected. They have to vote the way the leader of the list tells them to vote, because they're going there as his representatives. They're not going there on their own merit. So if that is not applicable to this lady, she should get she's ass out the place. And I'm going any further than that, Mark.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. 37 minutes after 9 o'clock, Tony Vera with us. Many of you remember Mr. Vera of Channel 28. Channel 28, what was it? Evening news, when news was actually news, and when we had journalist and proper reporter. That's another story. Mr. Vera, lots of things we want to talk about tonight. In 2006, the elections under the leadership of the People's National Congress, Robert Corbyn, we saw you in Parliament. You did a good job in holding the corrupt PPP government accountable. You exposed in terms of the shenanigans at the Guyana Sugar Corporation and so forth. And then in 2015, we saw that you were there. You were part of the Gaisuco board as well, the Guyana Sugar Corporation. And then in 2020, we saw that switch over to the PPP. As corrupt as they are, why you took a gamble to go in bed with people who you already know that are corrupt and do not mean well for Guyana?
It was a personal choice. I can't tell you. I watched it very carefully. There were things that happened, and I don't want to necessarily go into it, but I will give you a brief oversight. I saw the Granger government heading in a direction which to me seemed to be a very strange direction. For example, I saw more money going to the GDF than going to the Ministry of Agriculture. I saw the GDF buying buses which were more appropriate for mobilizing the army in the civilian population rather than on the border and these other places where they're really supposed to go. I saw some. I can't tell you that the corruption that I saw in some levels. You see, Mr. Granger was not. I was telling up to today. I was telling a friend of mine. Granger became the president, and very shortly thereafter, it was announced that the man had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But Mark, if you remember, my friend Brian Straighty, Nobriga, when he got diagnosed with cancer in the spine, and I took him to the various levels of chemotherapy and so on, to watch a person on chemotherapy is an absolute. I personally prefer to dead. It's horrible. The diarrhea, the vomiting every couple of minutes, the losing of the weight, they can hardly walk. Mr. Granger must have had to go through something like that through a very substantial part of his term in office, and therefore it allowed certain lower levels to make big decisions which only the president should actually make. Until actually it was my opinion at the time when they did the 2020 shenanigans that other people were in charge of the PNC and not Granger. But we shouldn't go back there. I mean, that's history now.
Absolutely.
Winston Churchill was very right when he said, if you spend too much time nitpicking about the past, you're going to lose the future.
But when this corrupt PPP regime was installed, they started to spend 10 times more money in the GDF than the Granger's administration, and less money on other areas that can develop the country.
Well, if you remember, what I said was that they're giving the GDF more money than they was giving the Ministry of Agriculture. In fact, Granger was giving agriculture 18 billion, and in the first term, the 2021, the PPP gave Mustafa 28 billion. He gave him 23 and then top 21 and then top or 22 and then top them up with 8 more, so, or 6 more or 8. He gave him. Yeah, I did it the other day, so I know it's fresh in my mind that it came out in the end that it came out 28 billion they gave him in 2021. But look what he's done with it. He's done absolutely nothing with it.
That was my follow-up that he has done. That is, the Minister of Agriculture has done absolutely nothing with it. Waste of money. All these guys are doing, they're getting richer and richer and richer and richer and richer off the backs of hardworking taxpayers of the country. What happened at the Guyana Sugar Corporation with that guy, the turnaround expert, who they put to manage Gaisuco? No experience in sugar. I'm talking about, Sis Narain. What happened? Because you quit and you said, that's it, you're gone. Talk to us, please, about the waste of money, taxpayers' money.
He was a very bad choice as for Gaisuco. I spent 2.5 years in that board, and the chairman and myself used to meet quite frequently, maybe twice a month, at his office in High Street. He was the CEO of the Demerara Bank, a really, really nice gentleman, Mr. David. But we couldn't get the man to see any sense, and this is not a man who understood how he can be a turnaround expert and don't understand that when you have a board of directors direct. They give you what they want you to do, and all you have to do is to put what they want to be done into practice. This man have no respect for his board. With the board tell him to go left, he gone right. And and the Minister of Agriculture, if you tell him, I want to do this, I want to make the statement. When you say, I want to do this, this man spent the next 2 days or 3 days, he had a man, he got below. They're working out how they could benefit from it. And I got tired of second guessing these people. Like, for example, when I was getting them to introduce aquaculture, I'm going to say it, I don't come to my determinations. I have reasons for why I made those decisions. I explained to these morons that when you do aquaculture, the aquaculture is far more lucrative than sugar. Because our calculations in the feasibility study that I did showed that aquaculture could give $25,000 per acre per annum, compared to sugarcane, which is about $1,000 to $2,000 per acre per annum. So it's very much more. However, I told them that the one big expense you have is feed. The feed accounts for 70 or 80% of the cost of the rearing the fish. You know what else people do? Direct me to go and buy the fish from some man, some friend they have, the minister. And I tell him I ain't doing it. I wrote a text, an email to the president telling him that I am not going to let that man tell me to violate the procurement laws of this country. I'm going to buy anything from my friend. You have to go through a process of competitive bidding. But however, in India, for example, where they introduced aquaculture, it wasn't doing very well because they were buying feed and soybean and so on from the United States. And it was costing 90 rupees per kilogram to make the fish feed. But the government of India put their technical institute to work to create, using rice bran and other indigenous materials. And they started producing the feed at 40 rupees per kilogram. And then the whole industry took off like one of Mr. Musk's rockets. They just couldn't make anything work if you're buying the feed from the United States of America. Just A, too expensive, and B, their transportation cost was pretty high. So I said that at the very beginning, we have to manufacture our own feed here because, frankly, the amount of we're producing approximately 600,000 tons of rice now per year, and a substantial amount of bran. Rice bran have really 20% protein. And there are other things we could do. Spirulina. You can't give your friend. You have to. The first thing we should do is build a feed mill. Get that out of the way, and then we can do the other things. They wanted to do the growth, expand the growth, and then look for how you're going to get the feed after. But that is absolute nonsense, and I wouldn't want to play that game. So I just resigned, cuss up Parliament, and walk out the place.
All right, typical form. Tony Vera cussed them out, said that's it. Hey, you guys are too corrupt. But what's your state of the sugar industry? We're not hearing much in terms of the billions they usually put in it. They're probably doing it quietly. But what's your take on the sugar industry?
The sugar industry is still recovering from that man they put in charge of it. When that man took control of, in September of 2020, he took control of Gaisuco, and Gaisuco that year, you can't accredit none of that production to the PPP because that was APNU, 89,000 tons. In 2024, because of what he did, the Gaisuco total yield was 47,000 tons, half of what it was in 2020. So in 4 years, the man totally destroyed that whole thing. And the 2020 47,000 ton included what was received from Rose Hall Estate, what they said to put back. And I want to say that they're saying they've re-employed, big sign up somewhere I saw it, they re-employed 4,000 people. That's not true.
All right, Mr. Vera there, probably internet problems. He will come back. We want to find out why it's not true. 4,000 folks they said they hired. Jack, they always talk about that 4,000. We want to hear Mr. Tony Vera on that point. Let's hope we get him back in just about 30 seconds. Oh, there it is. You go. Continue, sir, with that 4,000 that they're talking about.
Well, more people are leaving the industry every day because it's very difficult work. And the cane cutters have an additional problem. The problem is that the factories, when I would join the sugar industry, the force, and I became a book cadet in 1964, 65, we were grinding 168 hours a week. Our factories are built whereby the canes that are being crushed is what is supplying the fuel to run the factory. When you don't have cane to crush, but you can't just leave your factory and stop it. You whatever juice is in the clarifier has to be boiled down until it becomes sugar. You can't leave it because then it's going to start to ferment and make big losses. And so therefore, when they don't have enough cane cutters or the weather prevents them from keeping the factory running, the whole system falls to pieces. Our system is not designed to work like that. It must work 168 hours a week. It must. If it doesn't work like that, then it's better you don't have an industry. And because of the shortage of labor, because of the inability of these people to put a proper mechanized system in place, they can't get the cane to the factory. Even when they have it, they can't get the cane out of the field into the factory. It's a very serious conundrum they find themselves in.
And thank you so much for that, at least informing us that sugar and the sugar workers aren't getting a fair deal at all. We saw what happened under Jack Diaz's presidency, under Ramatar's presidency, in terms of lots of sugar estates were shut down. Yeah. Are you here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. So, yeah, I was talking about the sugar estates and workers getting a raw deal under Jack Diaz's presidency. Under Ramatar's presidency, we saw sugar estates were shut down. We're talking about Wales and other estates were shut down. Hundreds, probably thousands of sugar workers lost their jobs under the PPP regime.
Not wrong.
Billions of dollars wasted, such as the $200 million for Skeldon Sugar Factory. Talk to us a little bit about that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, the Skeldon Sugar Factory was a bad decision. From the beginning, it was a really bad decision because it happened, it started in 2001, the planning, and then it continued and came into fruition around 2006. But at that very time, 2002, 2003, the European Union had announced that they're going to withdraw all subsidies in sugar. And they did. And so we were expanding our sugar industry when every other Commonwealth country was contracting theirs because there was no more 30% guarantee thing. But in addition to that, the European Union decided that they are going to give us a substantial amount of money, billions of dollars, to put our existing sugar industry into good shape so that we could become more competitive in the international market. And these people took all that money to Skeldon, and when Skeldon went down, it is reasonable to say they took the entire rest of the industry with it. I have information and I did commentaries of Albion Estate in 2023 or 24 asking for $250 million to do its out-of-crop maintenance for the factory, and they cut it in half because they was taking the money and giving it to Skeldon. It was a really bad plan, and Jack Dew has never been called to book about it, really, but he destroyed the entire sugar industry, not just when Skeldon went down because of what they did to let Skeldon work. They took the entire rest of the industry with it because the rest of the industry was not capable of competing internationally anymore. Because the money that they were given by the European Union to upgrade the existing sugar industry was wasted at Skeldon with that nonsense project they had there.
So what is your take looking at Gaisuko when the coalition took office in 2015? They had to able to take the sugar industry out of intensive care unit. That's just my take. How do you view it when the coalition took over and had to rescue the sugar industry?
Boy, Mark, this is a very sad thing, but really and truly, those decisions that were taken in 2016, I basically have to divorce myself from it. I was on the board for 3 months. They put me there in 2016, and when I presented to Clive Thomas the difference between aquaculture and sugarcane, they asked me to step down as a non-executive director and become an executive employee with diversification, with the title Diversification Officer. Because I always have felt that our sugarcane fields were built to hold water. They're like natural ponds. They're just absolutely tailor-made for aquaculture. And we could be doing so much better with something which could employ. I told the same Mustafa, if you give me 700 or 800 acres at LBI Ogle area and Moore area, those East Demerara estates which were closed, I could employ all 7,000 of those people doing proper work. Not fetching cane on your head, you got to load 2.5 tons to make a day's pay. Work which has to be done every single day, transporting the feed.
Yep, internet problem there. Mr. Tony Vera's end. 55 minutes after 9 o'clock, if you're now joining us on this Wednesday night. Yeah. So let me ask you this here.
But I would like just let me.
Sure. Go ahead.
Thing.
Sure.
The East Demerara estates. I can't tell you where the decision came from to close those estates in 2016, 17, or 2018, whichever one it was. Frankly, every time before there was a closure of a factory, it didn't affect everybody, only the factory workers. For example, when they shut down the Leonora fields, the Leonora factory, all the cane from Leonora simply went over and was ground at Iflock factory. When they closed down Rosal Estate, they should just kept the fields open and let the canes go with the Albion factory. The only time they shut a factory and a field together as one complete thing and put all 7,000 of the workers out on the road because there was no alternative place for them to go and work. But that East Demerara Estates, that was really a sad decision, and I think that I can easily say, because I'm a researcher, was one of the main reasons that the APNU lost the 2020 election. That same closure of our estate, East Demerara. This is LBI Enmore Estate.
But the Enmore Estate partial closure started under the PPP. The officers, the cane workers went out and they struck and they basically were against the partial closure of the Enmore Estate. We saw what happened also over at Wales Estate. Workers weren't being paid. They were treated badly and all manner of things. But when the coalition got into office, I think within the first 3 months, they had to ensure they had about, almost $7 billion.
Well, let me just say this, right? The first thing that happened in 2015 was that we held a commission of inquiry. Some men who I have the greatest of respect for sat in a room at the Ministry of Agriculture, and they came up with a plan for the sugar industry, and the plan basically was, let's fix the thing up and sell it to some private person. Well, Mark, you and I, that was the decision of a commission of inquiry which the government initiated to advise it what to do. But it never took the advice of that commission. Never. They just went ahead and closed Wales and the East Demerara estates. And I never could understand how come. So let's just say for the time being that it is my opinion now, and it was so then, yes, you have to find something for your people to do. You have to find a suitable alternative. And we have been gifted by the good Lord and our ancestors to have a perfect condition to join one of the fastest growing industry in the planet today. You know what? The aquaculture industry, this is growing of fish, not in wild, in captivity, like a farming, like a cow farm, or in other words, you farm in the ocean, the rivers, and you know how much money it is today? It's a $316 billion operation compared to sugarcane worldwide, which is about 70 billion. It's far, far bigger. I mean, a pound of shrimp is a lot more than a pound of sugar. I can tell you easily right now. Now, we've been given gifts and we've just not been paying attention. We just have this fixation about sugar, the king of sugar, but king is not sugar anymore. Sugar is not king anymore. Something really important happened in this world, and we have people in this country, up to now, a lot of them, they don't really understand what happened. We always had heavy rainfall, always. That has been what we inherited because we live 6 degrees north of the equator, right underneath the intertropical convergence zone. We have one of the highest rainfalls on this planet. Only about 4 or 5% of this whole world has got our kind of rainfall. We have tried to mechanize our sugar industry and failed. Since the 70s, we've been trying to mechanize it, and it has failed because the rainfall is our biggest limiting factor. So basically, to continue growing sugarcane when an important thing like the mechanization happened, when everybody in the world in the 70s was cutting cane by hand, we were substantially good competitors because we had the best transportation method in the world. Our sugarcane, one one 35 horsepower tractor on a dam which you can walk on is pulling 100 punts with 6 tons in each punt, which is 600 tons. And other places, Australia, Hawaii, Brazil, a 350 horsepower tractor trailer on a perfect road is only pulling 35 tons. We had that advantage where we had the cheapest transportation system in the whole world, that waterway system with those ponds. But when they started to use machines in Australia and in Brazil, there was a time in the 70s or Guyana had more sugarcane than Brazil. Was there not a 1 million acre expansion of sugarcane after the introduction of that machine which harvests cane? Because the biggest problem in the field of sugarcane is to cut the damn thing and get it to the factory. If you don't have people who don't, if you're competing with a man who got a machine plowing his land and you plowing your own with a fork, you think you're going to prevail? So the shutting down the sugar industry, in my opinion, is an inevitable fact. It's a fact of life. But you don't have to shut it down. You could diversify it to something more productive, more lucrative, more permanent.
Well, it's
which is
something that something that these vagabonds in office do not know. They do not care. They do not have the vision. They just want to steal and steal and steal, and that's what they're doing. I'm looking at some of the comments in our comment section, and some of them have taken umbrage to what you said about the 2020. And I just want to, I'm not revisiting that because we have far more important things at this time. Many folks are of the view that there was a change of government by outside forces, and that if the elections were conducted properly, then it's pretty obvious to them, and I would agree with them as well, that especially if you have something of this nature, 61 dead voters, 4,864 absent voters, 150 stuffed ballot boxes. And the evidence has shown that those 150 stuffed ballot boxes were in predominantly PPP support areas. Then there was 47 ballot boxes without documents, predominantly PPP support areas. Also, Mr. Vera, 1,278 missing oaths of identity. Missing oaths, we know region 2 and then region 1 and so forth. We know of the REO, I believe, out in region 1 who took almost 3 months before he delivered those documents and they were damaged. Now I ask, and I'm saying all of this to say that if all of this evidence pointing in the direction of a rigged elections on the part of the PPPC, because the 4,864 absent voters, predominantly PPP stronghold areas, 150 stuffed ballot boxes, predominantly PPP support areas. Now, here's my question to you, sir. There were 3 or 2 elections petitions that the PPP complained that the PENC or APNU SOPs were questionable. Now, if you have an elections commission petition, why wouldn't the PPP want the elections petitions to prevail so that all of those SOPs would be open in court and for all Guyanese and the world to see who really rigged the elections? Your take, please, sir.
Well, I'm not going to open a discussion on something like that. Honestly, I can't. These are things basically we have to ask ourselves. We were in charge of it. In 2020, we APNU were in charge of GCOM. So
fair enough. But if the SOPs were questionable for the PPP, if the coalition SOPs were questionable, why do you suppose, Mr. Vera, that it was the PPP who didn't want the elections petitions to prevail? If you want to say that the coalition, not you, but the PPP, want to say that the coalition did what they did, then allow the petitions to go, let the SOPs open up, and let the world see. But it was the PPP who did everything within their power.
It has to go to court. What I'm saying to you now is that the fact that only now you're seeing small snippets of the case in court against the people who were guilty of the shenanigans. Why now? It couldn't happen for the whole 4.7 years where these people been in there. It's only now they could bring these things to the public just before the election. You're showing that the executive is very much in control of the judicial system in this country.
And not only that, control of the evidence. So we can't say that these people are guilty because there were shenanigans in the elections and the PPP knows exactly what happened. And so these individuals have been led to punish for almost 5 years. And the PPP has been hiding whatever evidence they have. They just don't want the evidence to be exposed because they may very well expose themselves as riggers of the 2020 elections as well. I didn't get you.
Well, this time we got to get it right. But the fact of the matter is that there appears on the surface that there are still many irregularities going on at GCOM. And I'm really hoping that our boys manage to get this thing right because, frankly, we don't want a repeat of 2020 again.
Certainly not a repeat of 2020 and any
no, if they present the APNU with questionable results and deny them their right to enter power, it's going to be, I believe there could be trouble.
All right. Okay. The man who knows a lot about the sugar industry, Aqua, also about television and so forth in Guyana. Tony Vera is with us. Mr. Vera, heading into the 2025 elections, you and Mr. Rambaran, a businessman well known in Guyana, you guys decided to team up and you formed a political party to contest the 2025 election. And then not so long after, we saw you and Mr. Rambaram teamed up with APNU Coalition. Explain why the turnaround and back into the arms, so to speak, of APNU PNC. What is so attractive?
All right. You have to look at the fundamental formula. The fundamental situation is as follows. There are people in this country who will vote for the PPP no matter what, just as there are people in this country who will vote for the PNC no matter what. But there always has been, since DGR time, out 15 or so percent, including the Amerindians, who actually are in the middle of the ground, what we call the third force. Well, when we formed up, when we decided to form up, A, it was late, but B, it was not necessary. It was not possible to form any kind of a third force party at that time because a new party, WIN party, was actually making some inroads in the vote, and as a result, it seemed to us that Norton could walk out of this thing as president. Maybe not in control of Parliament, but he might get enough. It depends on how much damage the WIN does to the PPP and the PNC. Well, I'm sure that they will do some damage. But
Absolutely.
You remember that the last election, the win wasn't no massive win. They like to talk about their landslide. I don't know what kind of landslide you win by 50.7 seats, 50.7% of the seats in Parliament. That's now 51%. But they will get one seat because it was a top up. So really and truly, they've been skating by. Even in 1992, Mark, when Jagan got back in, returned to democracy, he didn't get 33 seats. He got 32. If it wasn't for Mansour Nadir and his treachery to say he's a third force party, but he really was there being financed by the PP to keep that one party in place, and he kept it going for a long time. But this thing about there having a win all the time is not true. In 2011, we showed that a third force party could actually control this whole country. I don't know why the AFC didn't understand what their position was. They went into Parliament in 2011. They had 7 seats, and the PPP had 32. And therefore, if from the very beginning they played the ball the way that they were supposed to play it, in other words, if the AFC had gone in there with the majority of seats, and the PPP were to come with a budget, you say, listen to me, take that budget and put it on hold in the office of the president. They pass it here until you fulfill these demands. And you get them a list of demands. We want to select the speaker. We want to select the chairman of the procurement commission and so on. You give them a shopping list. And every budget they bring, you ask for more concessions and you balance the playing field. Because Right now, this winner-take-all thing is a very dangerous thing to have. And that's what we have. There is no question we have a winner-take-all situation in this country.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on, and you've been a pioneer in terms of television and all these things.
I want to pioneer aquaculture. I really want to do it because it's their compliments of our ancestors. They worked for centuries to give us those fields, which are natural ponds, and for water surrounding which could be transported. To just bulldoze it and put park a few tractors for somebody is really a tragedy. It's really absolutely ridiculous. So that's why I wanted to do it, and that's why I still want to do it, even though I have advancing age. But I ain't older than Ronald Reagan was, and I ain't older than Trump is. So I didn't see how I are old now.
All right, aquaculture versus hemp. Some people are arguing about hemp, but you were saying aquaculture. I'll go with aquaculture indeed.
That would come up with the same problem. You'd have to have a machine to go in the field and harvest it, and that's not going to happen. And before you could harvest it, those sugarcane fields have a cambered bed. It's shaped like it's a cambered bed. You have to level it out. For you to get the cane harvesters to work, you have to level that field out. For you to grow hemp, you'd have to level it out. And you can't, and then you have to harvest it with a machine. If they think people are going to go in there and economically harvest hemp by hand, they need to realize that smoking marijuana and cocaine is illegal in this country. That's my check.
All right, Tony Vera, smoking cocaine and these sort of things. Don't forget, a lot of those guys at Freedom House are watching us right now. They might get annoyed. No. What I'm saying is a bit humor. They might get annoyed that you're hitting at them.
The Freedom House boys is not cocaine. That means rum drinkers.
Right. Mr. Vera, media houses in Guyana, if they do not talk anything favorable about the PPP, they stifle you in terms of ads. I can speak personally that for 5 years, 107.1 FM has not gotten 107.1 FM has not gotten a cent of ads or state ads or taxpayers ads and so forth, but they give hundreds of millions of dollars to their friends and cronies. This has been happening for a while. What's happening in terms of the landscape of the media houses in Guyana that are not favorable to the PPPC?
About 5 months ago or 6 months ago, for the third time, I gave the PNC a decision which was made by the Trinidad and Tobago court. In Trinidad and Tobago in 1982, Mark, not last week, 1982, a man named Rambajan, he was a UNC parliamentarian. He was one of Pandey's men. He was shadow minister of one of the ministries. And the subject minister for the particular thing had made a statement on state-owned media, Trinidad and Tobago Television. And he approached Trinidad and Tobago Television for time to respond to what the man had said, what the minister had said. And they refused him the time. So they went to court. And it went all through the Trinidad system. And in 1983, Trinidad and Tobago TV said, the state-owned media is owned by all the people. And time on the state-owned media must be allocated in keeping with the amount of seats each party has in parliament. PMC got 27 seats, you got to get 27 minutes when the other one got 33 minutes. And as a result of which, the government closed down Trinidad and Tobago Television. But not only does that exist, not only does it exist whereby you have this thing where the people who are the party in power is treating that thing as if they own it, rather than all the people of Guyana, you have the other horrible situation of $300 or $400 million per year is being subvented from Parliament to run that monstrosity, NCM, radio and television. And it is not private operators of radio and television don't get any part of it.
Yep, we lost you there for a quick minute, but
how much of it you got?
That's all right. We got a substantial, and of course, making the point that the PPP continues to stifle independent voices, stifle independent radio and television stations in Guyana. I just mentioned to you that we at 107.1 FM, which of course a lot of our viewers, to remind you, it's a radio station, 107.1 FM, a radio station on the ground that had been starved of ads from day one from this corrupt PPP regime. Mr. Vera.
The amazing thing, the amazing part of that whole equation, now we've gone to another. The one part is they're violating the Constitution. The second part is of equality. The second part is that they're treating the state-owned media as if it's owned by the government in power and not all the people of Guyana. And the third most important thing you just mentioned there is this same man, Jack Doe, went and signed the Treaty of Chapultepec, which says that state-owned advertising must not be used as a punitive measure to any station or any media. We fellas have to start going to court, Mark. We got to start going to court. We got to get up some bread. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, I want to say it, and if I got every bit of my thing I have, I will use it to try and sway the APNU on entering government. We have to level the playing field. They're not going to level it. The people are not level it. There's no interest. We can't behave that we're never going to be in opposition again. And we have to understand that those are the guys with the deep pockets, and therefore the leveling of the playing field, the selling out of NCN and doing away with it as a tool against you when you're in opposition. You have to get rid of it when you're in power. You can't have it like a football. This month they're for you and next month they're against you. It really makes media workers in this country look like jokers. We just should get rid of all state-owned media, all of it. Just get rid of the whole thing. And
before your closing remarks, I want to. You're a fighter. You tell it like it is. You and I have been friends for many years. We've had our good days in Guyana, and I'm also getting up there in age. But the fighter that you are, and I've noticed some of the comments, some of the people earlier. One mentioned that Jack Deere, and we go way back, so this is no disrespect, that you allowed Jack Deere to bully you, him and his friend Bobby Ramroop, or Ramsroop, or whatever his name is, bully you and took away your radio and your TV station, when you should have actually stand up and fight them and tell them no. Talk to us if you wish about that, please, if you wish. Why?
I saw that thing in 2009. Tell your friend, whoever it is there, that in 2008, there was a big crash in the United States. In 2008, as a director of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, because I went to some of the meetings and they asked me to be a director, and I was a director. I was part of the team that joined CANA and CBU, Caribbean Broadcasting Union, and CANA to become the Caribbean Media Corporation. So I saw that in Guyana, there was no advertising revenue. There was no future because nobody would fight those fellas. And at that very time, in 2009, 2008, it was a big crash in America. And I didn't give away my TV station. I sell it. And up to today, I ain't regret it. Because I went and I took the money they gave me and I bought property, and I up to 2 years ago, that was what I was living on. Everybody who owned a TV station, because of this same man, Jack Doe, you're all underestimating how devious this man is. This same man has made Channel 6 come off the air. Channel 9 is sold to somebody else. We were asking some other people to buy it because we want to keep it within the opposition side of things, and nobody won't touch it. Radio systems don't have the expenditures that a broadcaster had. It used to cost me in the day I was operating $4 million a month just to drive the minibus and take with a driver to take camera and cameramen. And nowadays, when somebody jump on a motorbike and run and do an interview with a radio, it's a very, very, very big difference between the two things, between television and radio. Broadcasting it alone, a radio signal is. If I gave you a pebble and tell you throw it, how you think you could throw it far, right? As compared to say if I give you a 10-pound boulder, you can't throw that very far. Well, that's a good analogy in that a radio signal is a few megacycles wide. A TV signal is 6 megahertz wide, 6,000 hertz wide, because it's heavy. It's got colors and moving and so on. And that's why it's so expensive. And you have to do cameras, you have to do. So the people who are operating radio now, their biggest problem is that there is very little advertising in Guyana. The Guyana market. In 2016, they had done, IDB had done a survey, Caribbean and South America. They wanted to establish how big the private sector was in the Caribbean and South America. And what they came up with is that as an average in the entire Caribbean and South America, if you took the private sector's earnings and you express it as a percentage of the gross domestic product, it was 16%. At that very time, it was pointed out in the same document that Guyana was 8. In other words, our private sector was half of what is the rest of the place. Because Burnham's commanding height thing, it hadn't devolved itself yet. And now that it's been devolved, they devolved it to the Chinese.
All right, 23 minutes after 10 o'clock. Tony Vera, no stranger to you guys. He's now part of the APNU. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, well, we're doing our best to make a good showing at the upcoming elections. I have the greatest of respect for Aubrey Norton. I enjoy working with him in Parliament, and I hope to. I have expressed my reluctance to accept any position in Parliament. I would really prefer if there is a small consultancy to be done about agriculture and sugar. I'd be very happy to assist, but basically, I wouldn't want to go and sit down in Parliament. I'm too old now. When I was younger, 20 years ago, when I was younger and I was in Parliament, I was suffering terribly with back pain. And my friend, believe it or not, my friend Donald Ramatar photocopied 19 pages of his yoga book to give me exercises of what I will do to keep my back from. So imagine if 20 years ago my back was killing me for sitting in that chair, that horrible chair for hours and hours and hours. You can imagine what happened to me now. So it's 20 years. 2006 was 20 years ago, Mark.
Yep. I'm familiar with 2006 and where I was at that time. But Tony, thank you always for your support. Thank you for that yellow car. You know what I'm talking about, moving around Georgetown, convertible. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for standing up for the people. Thank you for your plain spokenness. And thank you for zigzagging. Sometimes you zigzag there, you zigzag here, and you zig right back over here, right? But I say this with the greatest of respect because you mean well for the country. You want the best for the country. And I'm almost certain that you zigzag in a corner that you will not zigzag or wiggle out for the remainder of your life. And I do wish you many, many more years on earth. Closing remarks. Why is it important that people should go out and vote September 1st?
Look around you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to look around you. If you live in Guyana, look around. You don't have to look far, you just drive on the road. And you will see the complete lack of law and order on the road. They have 70. My friend Jacob has a small shipping thing because he owns a wharf in town. He's putting 40 tons of stone into those trucks. Those trucks are going down the road with literally 70 tons inside. Now, Trinidad have laws where nobody with a truck which carries more than 15 tons could go on the road. These trucks are not only on the road, they're going at enormous speed, racing each other on the road, destroying everything that we want. The other couple of days ago, for example, I saw on the front page of Satirical News, 2 young fellas, 18 years old, convicted of murder. Where exactly are we going with these things? What kind of electricity do we have? What nonsense? These people took $27 million and bought 18 generators, which up to today might not even be working. Guyana Water, the other day I full up my pool. because I built a small above ground pool, no big fancy thing. And the water came in normal color, but you know the banks there have that when the water come out of their well, they put it through a kind of a waterfall so that it becomes oxygenated. Within 24 hours, my pool was like tomato ketchup, and up to now I can't get the thing to look like water. Guyana Water Inc. is a total disaster. Guyana Power Light is a total disaster. The whole country is being run really badly. The roads are no better than they were before. You have new roads in certain places, but what kind of planning do we have that from the time you build a road, like that East Coast Road, look how much money they spent on it over the years. It's obsolete. No, right now it's obsolete. How much lessons do you have to learn that these people don't know what they're doing, and they're taking most of the money that they're getting. They're converting it to portion. I would say as much as 30%. So you have to vote these people out. I really wouldn't want to live in Guyana if the PPP get another term. I'm gonna have to go find somewhere else to live.
Well said. Lots of people feel the way they do, and that is why they have to go out and vote September 1st and do the right thing and vote for people who can make Guyana breathe again. Right people, not people who save themselves, but people to save Guyana. Mr. Vera, thank you always for your time, and let's stay in touch. We'll have you back here again on 107.1 FM. Thank you so much, sir.
Good night, Mark. Good night, everyone.
All right, Tony Vera there for you guys, telling it like it is. And I've been reading some of your comments. In fact, a lot of your comments, I allowed Mr. Tony Vera to speak his mind. And, you know, Tony, well, he's on the right track this time, and he's asking you to go out and vote and do the right thing. Come September 1st, vote these vagabonds out of office. Just vote these vagabonds completely out of office. And it's not about just vote for whomever other than the PPP. Be careful who you vote for. That's all. Be very careful who you vote for. All right. My name is Mark Benshaw, but before I go, you know, we got to do a little comedy. You know that. And here we go.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians.
Sorry about that. Let's start right over again. And this is how the PPP regime, this is what they do. They insult members of the Guyana Police Force. And I hope all the members of the Guyana Police Force who are watching tonight are not going to fall for that gimmick, are not going to fall for that trap. The PPP, air finale, they do not care about the police force. Not at all. They just do not care. Right, Kilmarnock? Kilmarnock and the entire crew who are watching, Kilmarnock just said, nice show. All the folks at Kilmarnock Cocotop watching. Listen to this here, though. Honestly, how much can you insult members of the Guyana Police Force like this, especially when there's just 32 or 33 days before elections? Come on, policemen and women. Don't fall for this gimmick. Don't fall for this trap.
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians. Carpool Police. My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians. Carpool Police 21111 Station. My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians. My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians.
Irrigation system in this community is better. It's better today because you have a government who already puts the people first. And the people...
What government is he talking about? Put what people first? Check out the water. It's like ketchup, according to Tony Vera, and rightly so. We see the evidence. The drainage and irrigation. Talk to the people at Blackbush Boulder. Come visit nobody. Drainage and irrigation. What's wrong with
the irrigation system in this community is better. It's better today because you have a government who already puts the people first. And the people...
I could just imagine the couple of days he took just to put that tight pants on, but that's another story. Listen to her now.
I'm so happy. You cannot say how much I'm so happy.
me of when I was going to a little boy attended a Pentecostal church out in Linden. That's the Wisma side. Something about I am happy, happy as can be. Jesus makes me happy, happy. And so she's now transferred that because 30 years and Irfan Ali wants votes, and he just goes there. Oh, you're an inspector, you're a sergeant, you're this, you're that, and he has violated many rules and the policies of the Guyana Police Force. But nobody cares about that. All those who have been promoted, now I'm not saying that people don't have a right to be promoted, but what is so wrong is Irfan Ali just walking in and say, you're promoted, you're promoted, you're promoted. And when you check some of them, it is because he already has a list and he knows some of those who are being promoted, why they're being promoted. And so we all know why too. But don't fall for the tricks. Members of the joint services, do not fall for the trick. Now let's get back to this lady who is so happy, happy as can be.
I'm so happy, 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 happy. I cannot say how much I'm so happy for our president, for promoting me to inspector after 30 years of service. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you.
Really? So Irfan Ali walked in and promoted her to inspector? Is that even right? I don't know. Can somebody say, is that even right what Irfan Ali did? Promoted her to inspector? And I don't know what's happening. I just don't know, but there are guidelines for submissions of promotions and nominations. And obviously he didn't follow the guidelines. He just didn't follow the guidelines at all in terms of the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. He didn't even, these people, you got to check to see whether some of these people had disciplinary charges against them and all manner of things. So this Paku just walk in like if he's Santa Claus, promoted, Kilmanak, promoted. He's just giving away stuff just like that. And it is wrong. It is a violation of the Police Act, especially the Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. Chapter 1701. And these promotions will become effective as of, August 1st. I don't know. I just don't know. And in terms of a constable being promoted to a lance corporal, you have to have 5 to 7 years in the current rank. All these manner of things. And this guy, Irfan Ali, obviously, the dodo head that he is, doesn't understand. Even a constable to lance corporal, be promoted to corporal, 8 to 10 years service in current rank, must be free of any current and past disciplinary charges or convictions under the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. All these sort of things. I don't know what is happening in Guyana. Policemen and ex-policemen and women, do not be fooled by these pakus in the PPP regime. It's just an election gimmicks. Take your promotion, whatever you can, but do not vote for an oppressive regime. Now, quickly before I go, one other thing, since it's comedy night, right? Comedy now.
In my opinion, the performance of the PPP government for the past 4 years, in fact, since it took office, has been nothing short of exceptional. If we factor in, I call it the downtime due to COVID, and
she couldn't be serious. Tandai McAllister couldn't be serious. Now, how silly can somebody be? Well, she's obviously silly. Obviously silly. Now, last night we had a silly guy. We mentioned this silly guy, Gaskin, and his dotishness. And then Tandai McAllister justifying why she has endorsed her friend Irfan. Just go your way, but don't come lying to the people. Look, I'm out of here, guys. I'm just out of here. I don't know. We're all tired. That's why you've got to go out and vote these vagabonds out of office. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow, same place, same time, right here on 107.1 FM, the radio station that has been starved of any support by a corrupt government, and rightly so, because we don't care. And also, not even the opposition supports us too. So, sorry, I had to squeeze that one in, right? I'm out of here. God bless you.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata from Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujarong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's
My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians. My name is Linden Shaka Tukumbo Afo Eleton Bavians.
In my opinion, the performance of the
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.